Girl, leave your hometown ASAP. And no, I'm not telling you to cut off your family, your friends, sell all of your clothes, sell your car, leave your apartment, and book a one-way flight across the world and never talk to anybody you know ever again. I'm not telling you that. What we're talking about today is why you need to leave your hometown, because the people around you, places you're going every day, what you're seeing every day is actually keeping you comfortable. And that exact comfort is actually keeping you stuck from growing as a person, and it's preventing you from success, being the most successful, highest version of yourself that you can be. In this video, I'm gonna break down 3 reasons why leaving your hometown is non-negotiable if you want to grow. Especially if you're anything like me who doesn't want to report underneath a boss, doesn't want to be told when to go to the bathroom or have a lunch break. If you're like me and just want to live that free life where you report to yourself, you live on your own schedule, and you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want about this world. And just live a free life where you're not reporting to someone else and you're not working on someone else's schedule, and you want to live that free life. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Gloria. I teach women to build freedom online by mastering their mind and their income. And I've helped thousands of women do that so far, break free from their chains, travel the world, and I've helped many women actually leave their 9-to-5 jobs and live that free life that they truly wanted to live. And personally, I went from living in my parents' attic in a small town, population 3,000 people, small town in Minnesota, to actually traveling the world and living life on my own terms. I travel the world full time right now. Right now, I'm actually in Vietnam, Da Nang, Vietnam. I'm really gonna encourage you to watch this full video because I'm gonna drop some gems and some lessons, all of the lessons I learned over the past 3-4 years traveling and getting out of my comfort zone and getting out there, because I used to be scared, but now I've overcame those hurdles, and I want to break all of these things down for you today on why, girl, you need to leave your hometown. And it actually all starts with your identity. Your identity is actually tied to your environment, and it all starts with first knowing why your hometown is negatively impacting your growth without even knowing it. So what I like to do is I like to kind of picture this jar here with a bunch of flies. And if you're not familiar with the experiment that one scientist did 10, 20 years ago, I can't remember. It was posted on YouTube. A scientist put a bunch of fleas in a jar. And what happened is that he put the fleas in the jar. And when he put them in the jar without a lid, at the very beginning, the fleas tried to jump out. They tried to get out of the jar, and they just tried to go free. But what happened is the scientist tried something, and he put a cover on that jar. 3 days went by. He came back. He took the cap off, so there's no cover anymore. And the flies could have just jumped out here. Could have all jumped out. But what the fleas did was very interesting. The fleas stayed the same in the jar, and they just had this programming in them to not go past that place where the jar lid was, that ceiling, even if the jar lid wasn't there. The scientists literally took off the jar lid, and the fleas just stayed in the jar. They didn't hop out like they did. And I say that because that's where most people are right now in their life. That's like us humans. We grow up in this environment where we see everybody doing the traditional path, and nobody's trying to escape because like the flies in the jar, because nobody knows it's possible to escape. So we do all of the same comfortable things around us in our hometown that's normal, and it's kind of like the offspring of the flies in this jar, the offspring even. They weren't even there for him to put on the jar lid, take it off, and they still went with their environment, what their environment did. Their parents, they stayed flying in the same range. And what they did is they did the same. They followed society's expectations of them in that little jar here. So for example, in the real world, what this would be is you see your parents telling people or telling you, or you see everyone around you growing up, going to school, getting a job, and going to college, or getting married right away, having children in a small town. And that's just expected of you to spend your 20s as a woman. For me, that was expected of me. Spend your 20s as a woman raising children, right? Or the other path would be to go to college, get a job, work for a ton of years, 40, 60 years, whatever, and then retire. And then you're done. And that's how life is. It's given nothing else. And that's kind of all of the fleas in the jar. The jar resembles the environment. And the fleas resemble the people in this environment. And when we're in that environment, when we're that flea that's thinking differently, this little green flea here that's thinking differently, and we want to get out, and we see everybody around us just flying and doing life how they're told, doing life how their parents told them, and their parents told them, and the rest of the parents told them, right? Everybody else told them they're going to stay stuck underneath the open lid of the jar. But if you're watching this video, that means you're that green flea. You're one of the green fleas out here that wants to get out of that jar, the environment, but they don't really know how. And they don't know what it's going to cost them or sacrifice them. Okay, so now you understand exactly what's happening. We're given kind of two hands in life. You can do this or this, but none of the hands are good. None of the options are good, unfortunately. It's kind of like this, what I'm gonna map out right here. So right here, this, stick with me, is your soul here. This is your consciousness, your soul, who you are behind your thoughts. This line right here is your thoughts, and this is actually us as a whole. I'm mapping us as a whole and our reality out right here. So this is our thoughts. And right here, this is our environment. Environment. There we go. So what happens is that our environment actually impacts our thoughts, and our thoughts impact our reality. This is our soul deep down right here, and a lot of people don't understand that they are not their thoughts. Meaning that your thoughts in your head is kind of like you in a 2-bedroom apartment, and you're living with your roommate, and you're in the other room. They're in one room, you're in the other room, and you're actually living with your roommate in one space, one head, right? And that's kind of like you, your soul, and your thoughts here, if that makes sense. So what's happening is that you're getting thoughts from your environment. Kind of like the fleas in the jar, you're getting those thoughts. The fleas in the jar, they see everybody else flying underneath that, and they're gonna have those thoughts, ooh, it's scary to go up there, up above the hole of the jar to get out. It's scary, it's not okay, I'll be exiled, I'll be isolated even. And those are the thoughts being programmed from your environment, and a lot of people are associating their thoughts with who they are as a person, but again, you're in the same room. You're a roommate to your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You can decide, do I have to act upon my thoughts, or can I create different thoughts and act upon those? Because all of our thoughts, essentially, they turn into actions. We have to have a thought before we take action on something, but we can choose that. So how that relates to you is that in your environment, it is programming you without you even knowing. You're waking up possibly at 6 a.m. for work. You press snooze, you snooze, and then you actually sleep until you literally cannot sleep anymore because you will get written up at your job or you will get fired. So you sleep, you wake up, you press snooze a few times, you get up, and then you get ready for work, you put your stuff on, and then you get in your car, and then you start driving to work. And it's the same routine every single morning. You drive the same route, you do the same things. And on that same route in your environment, what you see, right, and here, everything around us is our environment. So you saw the Starbucks and you're like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna go through the drive-thru. So you have that thought, whether it's a good thought or bad thought, to maybe in the morning not get Starbucks, maybe not get a Frappuccino to pound your brain, with sugar, but you got that thought to, hey, I just want, Starbucks, I want to drink sugar because it's good and it tastes good and I just want to do it, So you're having that thought to put sugar in your brain before work every single morning, and that's kind of how your environment impacts your thoughts, because if that Starbucks wasn't there, obviously you would not get Starbucks every morning. And then you go to work and you hear the same conversations every single day, you talk to the same people have the same beliefs, and they're putting them on you. And your coworkers are gossiping and your friends gossip. So of course, that's our environment. That's normal. We're going to gossip. All of these people, all of the environment around you, they do the same thing every day. They have the same thoughts. They're the same regular patterns in your environment. It's normality around you. What is normal around you? Normality. Nobody around you is going after their goals, ambitions, traveling, talking about dreaming big, talking about their deepest desires, their missions. Nobody's doing that. So obviously, your environment is going to program thoughts that are similar to your environment. What you see is going to plant thoughts in your brain, and eventually those thoughts, you're going to act on thoughts, right? For us to act and make decisions, it has to be a thought in our brain first. So your brain, just like those fleas in the jar, is like, this is all there is. That's what your brain is telling yourself. That's the thought. This is all there is to life. It's impossible. No one's ever made it out. No one's ever done anything differently. So I'm just gonna shove it down, shove it down. So this is the foundation right here on why you need to leave your hometown and how much it actually impacts you, which is essential to understand to actually leave and actually hit your goals and make a difference in your life. And the next thing is exactly why staying in your hometown actually destroys most people. Tony Robbins famously said, all growth starts at the end of your comfort zone. And I love that quote. Personally, I went to a Tony Robbins event about a year ago, and I heard this quote for the first time, and I had to share it because it changed my life. What he's saying here is you need discomfort to change. You need it. And you need that pressure that discomfort puts on you. For example, when you are around friends and family every single day, same people, conversations, right? Friends and family every single day, it's comfortable. You subconsciously know you have something to fall back upon. When you are in your hometown or in your home city or home state, you know deep down you can pick up that phone and you can call your parents when you need help. You got a flat tire, you can call your parents. You can't make rent, you can call your parents. When something bad happens, you know deep down, oh, come on, be real with me. You know deep down you can call somebody you know from your environment and they'll come and save you. But that's the cause of our comfort, and comfort leads to failure. And when you have that belief of calling your parents when something bad happens, that means that you're dependent upon them while you're independent in this world. And that's the biggest thing, the hurdle I went through, is that I knew deep down I could call my mom if I couldn't make rent. Deep down, I knew if something bad happened in the city, I could call my mom in her hometown and do it, right? Because I did have a period where I lived in my mom's attic, but I also moved to a different city in my home state, like an hour away from my hometown. But still, deep down, I still knew someone could come and save me. But the second I fled to another country, I went to another country across the world. The second I fled, everything changed because I put myself through discomfort. I put pressure on myself. The first time putting pressure upon myself to actually make a difference and actually change in my life. I was raised by people that supported me, that could help me, and that's beautiful. I love that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that that energy around you all of the time will prevent you from growing. You need to do something I call burning the boats. Burn the boats. For a month, for a year, something. Get out of your hometown. Because when you know deep down across the country, across the world, when you know deep down that nobody's gonna come to save you. Your mom's not gonna book a 24-hour flight and come to save you in time. Nobody's gonna come to save you. And when you have that mentality that, hey, I am dependent upon myself, nobody, not a single person can save me, that's where that pressure is gonna turn you into a diamond. And that's where the diamond is born, is that discomfort that you're putting yourself in by leaving your hometown, and it's almost subconscious, almost something that we don't even realize. So the difference between living in your hometown is that you know, I'm okay. Boom, I'm okay, I'm happy. If something goes wrong, I'm okay. If something goes right, I'm okay. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm chill, and it doesn't really matter. Really what happens. And that's your comfort zone talking, like, I'm okay. But we should be scared of comfort. We should be uncomfortable with comfort, because with that I'm okay mentality, it will keep you the same, it'll keep you stuck. Because you're always okay and you have no motivation to change. You have no driver to actually make a difference and try hard. And that's the scary part. That's where a lot of people are struggling. But on the other side here, you know, nobody is coming to save me. Absolutely nobody's coming to save me. Maybe you're gonna have some rough moments. Maybe you're gonna have some moments where you feel the pressure is on. Maybe at times you're going to cry and you're going to be like, wow, life is hard. But same time, those lows lead to highs because you are testing yourself. You don't know how far you can get in life when you're stuck in a box of your hometown, and there's always a ceiling. It's like that jar. It always feels like there's a jar, that comfort zone up there. And you're stuck in your home. And in that jar, like the fleas were, and that ceiling is always there, that comfort zone. And you don't fly past because it's scary, it's unknown. You might get isolated or ostracized if you go beyond the ceiling. But once we take that ceiling away, we completely obliterate that ceiling, that comfort zone. It's risky going out, right? You're sitting here in your house, we take away the ceiling. It is risky going out and getting uncomfortable. It is risky, but that pressure is going to create a freaking diamond inside of you. So now that we don't have the ceiling, we don't have the ceiling anymore. It's not here. That means that you are limitless because you know that there's no ceiling. You know nobody's gonna come to save you. You know that your potential is endless because nobody's boxing you inside a little jar. You're not keeping yourself inside of a small little box of your hometown. And you know, and you see in a new environment that things are possible. You see around you people hustling and bustling. You see people doing things that you never thought possible. You see in your environment that hustling, working hard, being disciplined is normal, and you're just gonna raise the bar from what's normal in your hometown to what's normal in your new environment. And that's so powerful. You can do way more than you think if you just give yourself the option to do so. And how do we give ourselves the option to do so? We get uncomfortable. We burn the boats. We book the flight. We move across the world. We live abroad for months on end. That's how you burn the boats. And it's not burning the boats of your friends and family. By all means, I still talk to my mom. I still talk to my friends, everything. That's not the point. The point is burn the boats of your comfort zone. And once you put that pressure upon yourself, you shape into a diamond. Something important happens that most people actually miss. And it's essential to self-growth and actually finding success in your life. And it's called an identity death. Identity death and rebirth. That's what it is. Once you leave your hometown, you will go through an identity death and rebirth. Because leaving your past environment will actually shape you into becoming the highest version of yourself. For example, your hometown has all of your old identity hidden in the houses, I like to say, and in the streets of that hometown, because you grew up there. All of the past versions of yourself are here. Old labels of who you should be, old expectations of what you should do and what you should do with your life and who you should hang out with. They're all in the streets of this hometown. For example, some old expectations of mine were to go to college, do not question it, get a job or get married and have kids at an early age, or work until I'm dead, or work until 65, retire, and then finally live a free life with retirement money. Those were the expectations pushed upon me in this old environment. And my old identity that succumbed a little bit, my old identity that said it was okay a little bit, she was still there. The old identity where I had the bad habits of scrolling because all of my friends did, gossip because my friends did bad things like smoke and drink energy drinks because my friends did. All of the bad habits that are the lowest version of myself, she lives in these streets because it is normalized. That's what all of the fleas are doing around me. But when you leave that behind and go to a brand new place with new buildings, a new style of living, everything is brand new and nobody knows you. That was the best thing that's ever happened to me, and that's what actually gave birth to my new identity. So on the plane ride from booking my first flight to Bali, I went to Bali for the first time, and my old identity literally died. The second I stepped foot into a cafe in Bali, and I'm really getting the energy and the environment, I'm taking everything in, that's where my old identity started to perish. And then my new identity started to come up. And I'm her right now. This is my new identity right here. When you leave to a place you have never been before, nobody knows you. Nobody expects anything from you. It's a fresh new place. None of the locals know you. Nobody knows your past. And that's so refreshing. It's not even funny. I cannot explain how refreshing that is. I literally could reinvent myself, snap my fingers and reinvent myself and become the highest version of myself just because I wanted to, because there's no old expectations hidden in the streets and hidden in the people and expectations from my old identity, from my hometown, putting that on me. So I saw this new place, this new environment. I'm like, yes, I literally can reinvent myself. I can be a new person. I'm not attached to the old struggles I used to have. I'm not attached to anything. I'm a new version of myself. So the first time I got like a matcha at the cafe in Bali for the first time, I was actually a little bit like, I felt my old identity. I'm like, what is happening? I felt scared and I felt nervous and I felt like I was doing the wrong thing, because my whole life I was told by my parents that the whole world is dangerous. Nobody is going to look out for you, right? And it's not safe out there, and people hate women like me, and like weird things like that I was told my whole life. And of course, with my old identity, I had that small town mindset. So I was super uncomfortable getting coffee for the first time, talking to like the Starbucks barista in Bali for the first time. I'm like, wait, this seems so weird. This is so wrong. I know nobody around me. But as we hit like month 1, like after 30 days, something shifted. I realized that I did not care anymore. I finally felt like I actually fit in for once in my life. And it was so weird because I didn't know any of the places. Like, I was new to the place. I didn't know it before I went to Bali. And then I didn't know any of the people either, but I felt like it was familiar to me. I felt safe. I felt alive for the first time. I haven't met anyone there, and I felt like I was hurt. And what happened with my new identity was that I started new habits. I knew I could not fall back upon anyone. I knew my mom couldn't book a flight here, 24-hour flight across the world, and help and save me. I knew it was up to me. So what I did is I shattered that ceiling, that jar ceiling here. I shattered it, and I was that flea that went out of the jar. I went out and I showed myself I could leave. I showed myself I could leave that jar without that lid. I showed myself I could survive on my own. And now I am that flea flying out in nature when maybe some of the rest of the fleas are flying in here. And I did it. I showed myself I could do it. I showed myself I could transform, and it felt so freeing. Not doing the regular things that girls did back there and that people did, like the oil changes and worrying about if my car tires are flat and worrying about the cold. Like, it was so cold in Minnesota for 6 months a year and negative 20 degrees. Worrying about things I didn't want to worry about anymore, like what she thought of me or about what they thought of me. And like people who I used to care about and their opinions, like they didn't exist in this new environment because they were not there. They were not physically there, and there's a power in that. I started to shape into my new identity that was the higher version of herself that I always kept in my mind in my hometown. So the higher version of myself, what she did is she set routines. She went to the gym. She did exactly what she told herself she would do. She ate healthy. Everything that I aspired to do in my life, but really, my old identity, it was so hard for her to do any of these things when she tried. It was so hard. But now my new identity, I was transcending into a new person through the environment that I had. I set routines and schedules for myself. I was becoming the highest version of myself through drinking a matcha with no sugar opposed to a Starbucks Frappuccino with tons of sugar. I was working hard. I was building skill sets that would get me paid. I was doing everything, building that body, that dream body. I was living, the life by the beach. I was doing everything my old version, my old identity wanted to do. And I finally did it. And I say this because I was in the same boat as you. I was the girl stuck in her hometown, as you know. I was the girl stuck and contemplating and watching all of these hometown videos, like leave your hometown everywhere on YouTube. I was that girl stuck in the loop, and I finally left. And now, hopefully this video gave you that clarity you need on why, the in-betweens, on why you need to leave your hometown, something you haven't heard before, how it will transcend you and help you become the best version of yourself. I've found this structure. I found the highest version of myself because I knew there's nothing I could fall back on, and that sharpened the knife, because I had to make it work. I had to make rent. I had to make a living. Otherwise, I'd be stranded. And once we have that fire beneath us and our back against the wall, right? will make it no matter what. If you pray with tears of blood, you earn that shower every day. You put your all in. You make your life excellent. Everything you do is pure excellence. Everything you do is with pure energy. There's no way you won't succeed. You are finding your potential. That potential's up there in the air, but you're stuck in that little box, and that's what your hometown is doing, that little tiny jar. And you don't know what's out there until you actually leave. Go find your potential and stop waiting for people to tell you to, because nobody in that hometown will ever do that. I was thinking back, and my old conversations just felt shallow. My old routines, I'm like, how on earth have I done that? I was completely uninterested in every single thing I was interested in back in Minnesota. School, gossip, judging people, scrolling, comparing myself to other girls on the internet. All of those things ruined my soul, and I found clarity by actually leaving and decreasing the noise. It was easy for me to just press stop on the alarm and wake up with energy. It was easy for me to wake up less tired than I went to bed for the first time. It was easy for me to just follow through with what I told myself I would do. And here's one last reason I believe that every single girl should leave her hometown. And I draw it out here. Right here is your comfort zone. Right here is everything staying the same. Right here is things going very good in your life, right? Excellent, yay, excellent. And right here is everything going bad in your life. Say things are going downhill. Say you got in a car accident. Say things are just bad. But a lot of people are stuck right here in their comfort zone in the middle. And what's wrong with that is that you have no motivation to change. You have no motivation to make a difference. You have no motivation to set goals. You have no desire. There's no desire there. It's being swamped. It's being stuck and put into your comfort zone here. And a lot of people wait for a low, like a car accident or a death or something to change. Or a high, something very good, like winning the lottery or something crazy like that to change. This is how the average person thinks. This is how a lot of people think. This is how I used to think. And why on earth are we waiting for a low, something bad to happen, or a high, something good to happen, to actually make a change in our life? If you know I change after this, a huge event, a dramatic event happens, why not forecast that and change anyway? Why not book that freaking flight and do it anyway? Successful people, what they do is that they put themselves into uncomfortable decisions at the very beginning. They get uncomfortable. They get out of that comfort zone. Why? Because it shapes the diamond that they are meant to be. And that's the secret to life. That's the secret to growth and success right there. Leaving your hometown can literally make you successful. It is the cheat code to success. That's what it is. And that's why I preach leaving your hometown, not cutting off your family and friends, but leaving your hometown for a bit and finding truth, finding yourself, and cutting out all of the noise and the expectations like I showed you earlier. And cutting out the things that we don't want to do, cutting out that environment that's shaping who we are, the identity, the fleas in the jar, and how we're stuck in the jar with the rest of the fleas when we want to fly out. And that's the key. You understand now exactly what your hometown is doing. All you have to do is take that next step. Set a goal 30, 60 days, 90 days in the future. Get the F out. And if you can't get out, you're stuck in the middle. You're stuck in that comfort zone there. You're stuck in the middle. I don't know what to say. Because you'll be stuck there forever if you don't find that will to change. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake, by the way. So if you set that goal and just stop depending upon your parents, have that mantra in your mind, nobody is coming to save me. And just set that fake goal, leaving your hometown. Hey, if I don't get my stuff together, like something bad is gonna happen, right? Do it or die mentality. Something bad is gonna happen. I'm gonna die if I don't do it. 30, 60, 90 days. That's the mentality we need because our brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake, right? Brain doesn't know. So set that goal right now. Leave your hometown, or set that goal in your mind, even a mental goal, and just convince yourself. The brain doesn't know the difference. Convince yourself that something is going to happen. So if you were to take anything away from this video, it would be that your environment impacts your identity and who you are without you knowing. And if you strip that comfortable environment away, right, you can transcend into the highest version of yourself, the one that shines, the one that's in the back of your mind, always, the future version of yourself. You can transcend finally into that high version of yourself that does what she says she's gonna do. So if you guys like this video, drop a comment down below. I read all of the comments, and subscribe, and I'll post more of these if you like it. And yeah, thank you again for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.